Welcome to our new episode of Speak Revenue. Remember, revenue is not a goal, it's a result. But a result of what? In this show, we turn our eyes from the outputs towards the inputs. We speak with sales leaders and entrepreneurs about their journeys. Join us on our quest to learn the root causes of success. Let's unpack what worked for them and what didn't. Today, with my guest, Jason Hills. Jason, so excited to have you in the show. Thank you for coming to Speak Revenue.
Thank you, Stephen. Nice to be here, and thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Jason, for our audience, real quick, who are you, what do you do, and why are you so successful?
Sure, yeah. So I'm the Chief Revenue Officer of a company called LinkLive. As Stephen mentioned, I manage sales and account management, business development, and channel partnerships. I've been doing this sort of thing or managing revenue for close to 20 years now. Started really in sales and then grew my career up through managing sales teams up to a VP of sales, and then moved to the CRO role, I don't know, maybe 7-8 years ago, where I started managing other things as well. In my time, I've managed things I manage today, as well as marketing and product and other functions as well. So that's what I do.
So real quick for our audience, what does LinkLive do?
Sure. So LinkLive is a communication platform. We essentially provide secure communications for companies that need to communicate with their customers in a secure way. So think about like banks, hospitals, governments, etc. And what the tool does is it allows these companies to use all modes of communication: phone, video calls, SMS, chat, secure email, all securely, and all now being enhanced by AI. So to help employees really answer the questions more efficiently and more accurately.
I'd like to get back to this AI aspect in a moment. But before we get there, real quick, what is for LinkLive and for you, at least the perceived thing that really moves the needle?
The thing that really moves the needle for LinkLive. So for LinkLive, we're a private equity backed company, right? So we are a growth-based private equity firm that is wanting us to grow quickly. And so for us, it's really driving revenue, right? We are looking to grow at greater than 50% a year. And so we are pushing the needle on marketing and sales. So it's marketing, how can we drive more leads? How can we make sure we're driving quality leads? And then on the sales side of it, what's our conversion rates? How do we improve our conversion rates? How do we improve our response time? And essentially,
so you're growing at 50% annually?
We are. Yeah, we will this year.
That's impressive. How long have you guys been around? Are you in the triple, double?
Yeah, actually, we're a pretty old company. So it's a 20-year-old company. It was a privately held company that really bootstrapped, took very little investment, extremely small amount of investment, and turned it into a profitable company early, run by the founders for 20 years, and purchased by private equity a little over a year ago, about a year and a half, who then have a different ambition. The co-founders were comfortable running a profitable business. Private equity wants to take that good business and turn it into a growth business. And so that's really what we're doing.
And they say a year and a half ago, that was still probably a good valuation, I hope.
Yeah, it was good.
You don't have to comment on this?
Yeah, it was that. I was not there for that. I was brought in with the private equity investment. So I came in to essentially improve the things that were working, take what was working, figure out how I can improve it, and then scale it. And
I feel like things have changed. 2 years ago, those conversations were, they're bootstrapping. They don't have money. Nobody's investing and they're running a small business. Now everybody goes, you guys are bootstrapped. I wish I were. Like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
So things have turned around. But how you recently came on board, I'd like to ask you, what did you do on day 0, day 1, when you parachuted in? But step me first through your sales process as is today.
Yeah, so the sales process, it's actually a little different depending on if it's direct or channels. We have a really successful channel business, but the sales process today starts with the leads, right? How did we get them? So
how do you get them?
Yeah, and
inbound, outbound,
both. Yeah, we do. So most of our leads are actually coming from our sales or BDR team. They do account for a huge percentage of this. We get sales from, we do webinars. Webinars are very successful. Our channel partnerships are very successful. We go to a lot of shows. The conferences work. So getting through all those modes. We do some digital marketing, not a huge amount, but we do get some leads through that as well. So as we get these leads in, then it's a matter of having salespeople that can convert them. And so most of the leads that come in go first to a BDR because I have SLAs around quick response times, right? So if I get a demo request from our website, I want a BDR who is sitting there who can respond within minutes, right? So I have a BDR take those, they have an SLA to respond. So we quickly get the person when they're thinking about it, right? When they're top of mind, wanting to look at our solution. So that's the first line. The BDR calls the person, has a conversation, does some qualification, make sure it's a real opportunity. If it is, they schedule a call right then. So we schedule with an AE. And so the AE then joins the next call, and this is largely qualification, right? So that first call is discovery, it's qualification. Do they have budget? What is their problem? What is the solution they want going to look like? Are we a fit?
Give the audience, let's give me and the audience a little bit context. What is your annual contract value? What ticket size are we talking about?
Yeah, we average on the direct side, it's going to be closer to the 40, 50,000. And on the indirect side, through channel partners, it's going to be closer to 18,000.
Okay. Let me recap. You do what I would call brand marketing by sponsoring events and just getting the name out and getting the name recognized by your target group in different verticals. Healthcare is a little bit different than, say, law firms or something.
Banking, yeah.
And then you do get inbound through digital marketing. We are talking paid ads here.
We don't do a lot of paid ads. Honestly, we do no paid ads, but we're truly doing most of our marketing right now is through webinars we host or that we will co-sponsor with companies that have followers. And then we do a lot of shows, and then we have our partners. So those are really our.
How do you convert webinars attendees afterwards?
Yep.
Because setting up a webinar is already difficult. And I admit I've failed many times at this. There have been successful ones, and there have been those where the organizer goes, Stephen, we like 10 people, and usually just 1/3 shows up. Do we want to talk 45 minutes to 3 people on a Zoom call? We're like, okay, maybe not. But we had the 160 people are attending. How do you convert them afterwards?
Yeah. So that's a good example or a good question. So we, for example, had a webinar yesterday where we had just about 100, like 98 people attend. Immediately afterwards, at the end of the call, at the end of the webinar, there's a call to action, right? There'll be a QR code where they can request a demo, request a meeting, right? They can snap that, takes it to a website, register. That's the first catch. We did also have people during the chats asked to be contacted, so we keep track of those and contact them after. But then for most of the audience, we have a list of everybody who registered because it was our webinar, right? So we know who they are. And so then we do send an email. It's an email that comes from sales operations that has basically it's a pre-established series of emails, but they come from our sales reps, or they're made to come from our sales reps. And those we send immediately, right? So we send that out very quickly after, thanking them for coming, asking them if they would like further information. We always have a follow-up webinar. So in this case, we're asking them to register for the deeper dive. But it comes from the AE's email address so that if they respond, we now have somebody that we're corresponding with, and it's a salesperson corresponding with them. That's the how, as far as the technically how. But the why they would come back is you leave them with something else they want to learn, right? You leave them with there has to be a reason for them to want to engage with you. And so at the end of the webinar, there was a reason to engage, to do a deeper dive, right? Or to do a demo, were really the two.
But he said to me, a lead magnet no matter how you deliver it, whether it's a PDF that you download or a tool that you send out, whatever it is, webinar, a lead magnet is a lead magnet if it's a complete solution to a very narrow problem.
Yeah.
If you can do that, then this is their first experience of how you solve problems, even just this one little narrow one, and they get a first taste of what it would be like if you would solve a big problem for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I think it is much easier if you're solving a narrow problem that many are experiencing and you have a good solution, especially if it's unique. That's a fantastic thing to focus on.
Yeah. I think Gong is a fantastic example for this.
Yeah.
For years, Gong is recording conversations and then giving you insight about the conversation. So what do they need? They need an audience that actually has conversations.
Yeah.
As long as they have empty calendars, there's nothing to record. Nobody needs Gong. So they were helping the sales leader with, those are 25 cold emails, how to get a meeting. This is how to get a meeting. They were helping us sales leaders to actually get meetings.
Yes.
Because only if we get meetings, then we are enabled to even use their tool.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
You were talking about AI. How do you leverage AI in that process?
We leverage AI in a few places. One of the things we do that's a little unique is we've started using AI to score the quality of a company. So essentially, there are two ways to think about who you should be prospecting. There's, are they ready? Think something like intent, right? And that's important. Mm-hmm. But then there's also fit, right? Are they a good fit for our products? And so we use AI really heavily on are they a good fit? And so we have a tool that essentially is scoring all companies that we have in our database. And we keep training that AI tool based on, are we closing deals? If we close deals, scores go up. And so the tool essentially then looks for other companies that look like that. We also allow the reps to manually assign scores. So if, let's say, a BDR sets up a meeting, it's a horrible fit, they're going to give that company a low score. And so that then teaches the model to go score other companies that have those same attributes with a low score. And so what that essentially does is it's always learning, always getting smarter, and helping us focus on the right types of companies and really narrowing in on what our OTP is, right? So if we can get really smart about what our perfect customer looks like, then let's find more companies that look like that. So AI has been helping us do that.
To give us a little bit of context, you said your sales rep are putting in the scores, or they can put in their scores. Mm-hmm. Give us a picture of the size of the organization. What's the overall headcount of the company?
We're about 70 people.
70 people. What's the size of the sales team, sales reps, sales enablement, RevOps, what have you?
Yep. So 10 salespeople, 2 account managers. I have 1 BDR right now, but I need 2. And then sales enablement really comes from marketing. That comes from product marketing. So I do not have a product marketing person. I have a sales operations person that I share with marketing. And that's really my team.
To pick a controversial topic, your BDRs, SDRs report to sales or to marketing?
Sales.
Sales. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm not sure I missed this. What's the ratio between SDR, BDRs to sales reps?
Right now it'd be 5 to 1, but I prefer it to be 3 to 1. I had it at 3 to 1, and then we had to do some cutbacks earlier this year, so we did lose the BDR.
So 1 BDR is feeding 3 sales reps.
Yeah.
Do the sales rep prospect themselves too?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So you have full cycle sales reps plus a BDR who feeds in additionally.
Yes. Yeah, I view the BDR as an extension of a salesperson's prospecting, right? So the BDR should be meeting with the salespeople they support regularly, and the salesperson they support should have things they want to target, right? So let's say they want to run a campaign to target deals we've lost over the last 2 years. So they can get a list from our operations guy, say, hey, give me a list of all the deals we've lost. And then they'll go into that and they'll choose the right people they need to target. And then they'll decide a message that they want the BDR to hit them with. And then we'll send the BDR out prospecting. And so the BDR might spend the next few weeks with creating sequences that are emailing and phone calls, trying to get those leads warm again.
So the BDRs are more like additional firepower on demand.
Yep.
That you can move into.
Yep.
Than doing every day the same thing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then we use them a lot if you think about going to a conference when it's a lot of work. Let's say you get a list of people going to a conference 2 weeks prior. It's a lot of work to try and set up meetings in 2 weeks, right? And it's this race, and all 200 companies that are going are doing the same thing. Salespeople have real pipelines, right? And they have deals they're working. I don't want them to drop the deals they're working and just focus on creating meetings for the conference. And so what I want the salespeople to offload that to the BDRs, right? And so the BDRs then become responsible for really setting up those meetings at those conferences.
Yeah. Man, being there so many times myself, I wish I had a good BDR at the time to do this. I did have, but many times I had to do this as an entrepreneur myself in the very early days, and fully understood. What happens after sale? Do you have a land and expand motion, or do you just fight churn? How does that work?
So I have account managers who essentially are responsible for initiating the land and expand, if you will. We do a ton of this, by the way. Like we have a lot of success upselling and cross-selling customers. So the account management role for me is really responsible for a few things. One is making sure our customers are happy and referenceable, and knowing, keeping an active list of who is referenceable so we can use those in sales. Two, it's finding upsell, cross-sell opportunities, right? So doing your quarterly reviews, being engaged with the customer, understanding needs and problems. But then when they find those needs and problems, I give the account managers the choice of either bringing in a salesperson or doing it themselves. They don't get compensated differently either way. My idea, or the way I like to run this, is, if it's a very small opportunity, the account manager can just take it, right? They can do it. But if it's something big and complex and it's going to require lots of work, many account managers don't love selling. And so I have them bring in an AE who then takes that and sells the deal.
So what is it? I've seen typically two types of setups. I've seen the dollar amount. If it's more than you need to call the sales rep. Or I saw strict dividing, talk with the customer about anything, but the moment it has a dollar tag to it, it turns into a commercial conversation, and now I need a transactional conversation, if you will. You need to call the sales rep because they are skilled negotiators and price makers.
Yeah.
Which is yours?
And quite frankly, they're better at selling the product, right? The account managers don't get repetition on selling a product, right? So that's a big part of it. To answer your question, it's a little more gray for me. We don't have a line that's like, if it's more than $20,000, bring in a salesperson. I have the account managers bring in salespeople almost all the time. So it's rare that a account manager keeps a deal. It's usually because it's very small, like they're adding seats to something they've already bought, right? They've already bought this package. They need 10 more seats. I don't need a salesperson to come in and send an amendment, and that's an easy thing. But if it's something more,
I think the key here is that your account managers do not have commission as part of their compensation.
They don't, and they don't have sales.
So they are not competing with the sales reps who do have commission.
That's right.
For the deal, right?
That's right. You have to align them, not make them competitive. And so I do that by, the account managers are really comped on a revenue target. So their book of business, their customer base, we look at their revenue, and then we look at our projected revenue for that customer base. They need to figure out how to hit that, right? So you can't have customers churn because that makes it really hard to hit that number. So you have to take care of them. But B, you have to be looking for growth opportunities because all of those customers are going to have growth built into their forecast for the year. So account managers are inherently motivated to find the opportunities, but they don't get commission per se on a deal.
I think this is a very smart setup because now with this incentive set this way, it makes total sense for the account manager to ask the sales rep for help
Yes.
to make sure that he's a closer, he's going to close it.
Yeah.
And turn for help instead of competing against each other. That's a very smart setup. And I think this is a strong argument against commission for account managers and customer success people.
Yeah, I don't pay like direct, and I don't really want to, right? As a consumer of services, I don't like companies that have a salesperson disguised as an account manager.
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to sell something, right? They're not really that helpful. So that
Good
that
point.
creates a bit of a negative experience for me as a customer of a company that does that. And so I don't want to create that. I want my customers to like doing business with me. I want my customers to be happy that they're meeting with their account manager because their account manager solves their problems and makes their business better. Not he's just a quota-driven sales guy in here looking to sell me something. So
yes, but at the same time, you do compensate them on overall growth.
That's
so
right.
They are growth oriented. They're
right.
just not so needy.
They're not like I need to close this to hit a quota. So I'm going to force you customer to buy this quarter because dang it, I really need it. They're more
very likable approach, Jason.
Isn't that what you want, though? You want your customers to like you because at the end of the day, you really don't want them to churn. That's a huge problem. And B, if you have lots of products to sell, which we do, I love the beachhead strategy. There's no easier person to sell to than a current customer if they're happy.
And people talk. They bring you new customers.
Of course, absolutely.
That's an underestimated channel. Before we run out of time, you mentioned partner. I think you mentioned partner and channel partnerships.
Yes.
Step us to how that's a very difficult animal.
Yeah.
Very often misunderstood and just reduced to, I got to do revenue share. And there are like tons of other aspects to this. Talk to us a little bit about how you have set up your partner program and how you leverage partner to feed your pipeline.
Sure.
Let me ask, who's doing the sales work, your partner or you?
It's a little both. We have 3 very successful partnerships. We've added 2 more that we're nurturing and growing. The way it works, they're all slightly different, but in general, the way it works is we provide them the product, right? So we have a product, we provide them all the material to sell the product or to arm their relationship managers or their salespeople to include our product with their deals or their customers. But essentially, we just want them to get us in the conversation. So in the case of, we do a lot of this in banking. So in the case of banking, we have one particular partner that is the largest company who sells technology to banks, and they have thousands and thousands of customers. We just want their relationship managers to ask their customer if they need this service and if they have interest in learning more. If they do, that relationship manager brings in, have inside salespeople who then they bring in, and our inside salespeople are trained in selling our product. And then we essentially take the deal through to pricing. The pricing actually comes from our partner because we put it on their contract, and our partner closes and books the deal. And so our partner gets to keep 100% of the revenue, and then they pay us a portion of that. So that's a model that's gone very well. We've also been doing a lot of what we're calling embedded deals, where we are embedding some portion of our technology into another company's broader solution.
Technology partnerships.
Yeah, you think about we call it our embedded strategy, but like the thought is we're salespeople, so we all use CRMs. So if you're in a CRM and you've noticed that many CRMs now allow you to place phone calls or send emails or texts, or chats, all from your CRM, sell those functionalities to a CRM company and label service within their overall product. Nobody really knows we exist, right? We're driving this. And the CRM company doesn't have to go create a communications platform. They can leverage ours. So we're finding opportunities to partner with companies in that way, where essentially we're selling, they become our customer, they buy it from us to embed it in a product that they're delivering to others. which is a spin on.
Essentially, you're making the product of your partner better than it was before.
That's exactly right.
I think don't think about revenue here. Don't think about lead generation. Think about adding value to your partner's product, and then it's going to fly.
That's
fantastic. All right, Jason, this brings us to the end of this episode of Make Things Better for Everybody. That brings us to the end of the episode of Speak Revenue. I want to thank our guest, Jason, for joining us today and sharing his valuable insights. Huge shout out to all our listeners. Your support means the world for us. Remember to check our website at speakrevenue.com for the full transcript and additional resources. And if you enjoyed the show, please review us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you go for your listening needs. It really helps to get the word out. Also, follow us on LinkedIn, Insta, and now also on YouTube. We'll be back soon with another great guest. Until then, stay curious, keep learning, and stay safe. Thank you.